everyone, welcome to another episode of Oracle Radio. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in once again to this particular YouTube channel. Thank you for the support over the last couple of episodes. Really do appreciate it, the support, the love when I see everyone on the dance floor. Thank you so much. I did not know that's what I sounded like. To those of you who did see me and talk about it, you know what I'm talking about. So thank you very much. But yeah, for this episode, it's just a 1 hour episode. The reason why I'm doing a 1 hour episode and possibly a 1 hour episode for the next 2 to 3 episodes is because of the busy festival schedule that is coming up. There's a lot to talk about in terms of what's coming up for festivals, where I will be in particular, and also what's happening here in KZN, and quite possibly in and around KZN. If you are in the Gauteng area or if you are down there in the Western Cape, there are some festivals that are coming your way. Some really, really good productions are on their way as well. But for today, our guest DJ Skabenga. Yes, Skabenga is his name, most definitely. I like what this kid is doing. Young, up-and-coming talent. He is really enjoying the dark psychedelic music, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. It's just that you have not been up late enough to experience what it's like for some full-on dark side. But today, he's taking the opportunity to put together a little 1 hour mix of exactly what he can bring to the dance floor. So if you're looking to book him for any festivals, if you are a festival organizer and you're looking to book him, links down to his profile are in the description. Feel free to check it out. Hit him up, send him a message, and let him know that you want to get in contact and you want him to come and play at your festival. But enough chit chat about who Skabenga is. Let's just get him to show us exactly who he is through this banging psychedelic mix that he put together for us. So you're tuned into Oracle Radio with Skabenga on the decks. attention away from the music that's playing in the background, let me quickly give you the festival calendar for KZN in the up and coming months. 3 festivals. You are so spoiled, KZN. You got 3 festivals coming up around the corner. The first one, Elysium Festival. Yes, it is confirmed. Elysium Festival will be taking place at the Oaks Hotel in Richmond. The dates for the particular event will be from the 3rd to the 5th of October. So if you want to go check out where to get your tickets from, I will keep you updated. But go and follow the event pages down below. Just check the descriptions. I'll leave all the pages for all the festivals in the description below. Feel free to click it, follow all the pages, and you'll find the tickets that you need for your desired festival. Following Elysium Festival, in November, we have the funkiest of all funky fishes. Yes, it is the 5th anniversary of the Funky Fish Festival happening this year. So get your tickets. It's going to be fun, really. I've been to all of the funky fish parties in the last couple of years, the last 4 years. And this anniversary festival is going to be an absolute face melter. You do not want to miss this one out. It's at the TVG Adventure Center, also close to the Harold Johnson Nature Reserve. Please, if you're going there, don't go and get yourself lost like how you did last year in the game reserve. It's down the road. You'll find your way there. Just follow the neon arrows. You should get to where you need to go. Next festival is obviously the big badass psychedelic Connexion New Year's Eve Festival. Connexion Festival, yes, it is happening again. Also in Richmond at the Oaks Hotel. I'll leave the description. You can go find it in the comments. Well, not in the comments, in the description below. You can go and follow the pages, find the tickets you need to find. But I'll keep you posted as we get closer to the dates of all these festivals. Okay, so let's get back into the music. Skabenga on the decks. You are tuned in to Oracle Radio.
Wonderful. wonderful, wonderful. Wake up, wake up, wake up.
so that's all the time we have for today on Oracle Radio. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. Thank you to Skabenga for doing that dark psychedelic mix for us. We really do enjoy it. If you want to get in contact with him, follow the links down below. Take you to his social media platforms, wherever you can get hold of him, message him, whatever it is you want to do. Send him some love, share some love, whatever it is you want to do. Get him booked for your festival. If you're an organizer, feel free, go ahead and do it. So yeah, thank you once again, and Skabenga, I'll see you soon on the dance floor. Now, getting to what I was saying earlier, and the reason for why I'm only doing a 1 hour show for the next few episodes is because of this busy festival schedule that is coming up. I'm really excited to be part of some new productions and some new festivals that I've not been for. I'm yet to see and yet to experience, so it's going to be fun. A bit scary, a bit nerve-wracking, but a lot of preparation to do to get there in terms of traveling, and obviously just preparing my mind to make some new music, and also just really get down to putting my craft to use. When I say that, I mean really honing in and finding what sounds are going to be working on the dance floor, especially traveling out of town, going to different places to experience how the psychedelic scene is on the other side. So speaking about festivals, I will be coming up to Johannesburg at the end of August. I'll be coming up to Johannesburg again on the 19th of September. You can try and figure out what festivals I'll be there for. And I'll also be going down to the Western Cape for Universal Frequencies at the event venue is called Karoo 62, so I'm excited for that one in particular. Really excited. So thank you for all the support, thank you for all the love. I really do appreciate it. Without you guys supporting the psychedelic scene, I'd have no way to DJ. So thank you so much for taking the time and taking the effort, for sharing all of the love and all of the support. I just cannot explain how much it means to me. So thank you. I really do appreciate it. But that's all the time we have for on this episode of Oracle Radio. I'm going to leave you to tune in back to the rest of Skabenga set. Thank you once again to you. And take care of yourselves. Peace, love, unity, and respect to all. I'll see you guys soon. Much love.